Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive right in. We're looking at how China's control over rare earth elements is, you know, putting serious pressure on US and Israeli military capabilities.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So basically, China is leveraging their rare earth resources to sort of strangle the supply chain for these high tech military components, right?
Exactly. And these rare earths, critical for things like missile guidance systems and other high tech equipment, are not just small bits of material, they're essential.
Absolutely. So, if I understand correctly, China's export controls are slicing off access to these materials, making it hard for the US and even for allies like Israel to keep up their war machine.
Right? And it's not like it's a minor hiccup. It's like, imagine trying to build a car when you can't get the engine parts. These elements, they're the engines behind a lot of military tech.
Yeah, I get it. And the conversation, especially the one with Dr. Walalu that was featured, really digs into just how critical this is for the US military industrial complex, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Dr. Uwalalu lays it out. China's stranglehold on these minerals actually creates real, tangible vulnerabilities in the defense supply chain. It's a perfect storm of geopolitics and resource control.
That's powerful. But uh, don't you think there might be some counter arguments? I mean, maybe alternative sources exist, or other nations could step in, right?
That's a fair point. Sure, there are discussions about diversifying the supply chain and even some efforts to develop domestic rare earth processing, but China has been the dominant player for decades.
Yeah, that's a tough nut to crack. It almost feels like they're using rare earths as a geopolitical bargaining chip.
Exactly. It's like imagine holding the only key to a vault. China's electrifying control not only impacts military tech, but has broader ramifications on industries like electronics and renewable energy, too.
Right, it's a multi layered issue. And this means that the ripple effects, well, they go far beyond just arms and defense, don't they?
Yes, indeed. It's like a domino effect. When you restrict something this vital, industries, ranging from consumer electronics to advanced computing, can feel the pinch. It's a strategic vulnerability that no one wants.
Yeah, definitely. But I've got to challenge one point here. Isn't it a bit of an overstatement to say that this alone cripples the US and Israeli war machine? Could it be that these nations have sufficient buffers or alternative plans?
Good question. The impact might not be an overnight shutdown, but it's more of a slow drip vulnerability. Think of it as a supply leak in a dam. Over time, the pressure builds, and eventually, the
That
cracks
makes sense.
widen.
So, while the systems might not collapse immediately, the long term risks to strategic autonomy become pretty clear.
Exactly. It's a bit like running on borrowed time. The longer you rely on a single vulnerable supply source, the more you're at the mercy of potential geopolitical manipulation.
Right, and that's worrisome. And it's interesting how this conversation ties into the broader narrative of global power shifts and resource nationalism.
Totally. Rare earths have become a strategic asset. China's export controls serve as a tool to, well, assert influence, not just regionally but globally.
Absolutely, it's like a chess game on a global scale. Which begs, what actions can the US and its allies realistically take to mitigate these vulnerabilities?
Good question. Well, there's talk of ramping up domestic production, building strategic stockpiles, and researching alternatives that could replace these critical minerals.
Diversification sounds key here. But some critics argue that moving away from established supply chains isn't exactly a snap decision. Do you see any immediate hurdles?
Ah, absolutely. The infrastructure and technology to process and refine rare earths domestically aren't fully developed yet. Moreover, the environmental and regulatory hurdles further complicate things.
Yeah, that adds layers of complexity. So, while the strategic imperative is there, the road to actual independence seems fraught with challenges.
Precisely. It's like trying to rebuild a house during an earthquake. The urgency is there, but the process is messy and complex.
Right, very tricky indeed. And then there's the Israeli angle too. Their military tech also relies on these materials, and they're caught in this crossfire.
Yes, and alliances always mean shared vulnerabilities. When a partner is affected by such resource constraints, it can ripple through collective defense strategies.
Clearly, it's an interconnected web. With such intertwined dependencies, I wonder if this situation might even push nations closer together in seeking mutual support for new supply chains.
That's a real possibility. Necessity might drive collaborative innovation, and perhaps lead to forging new trade partnerships with, say, countries that have untapped reserves.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle. And it definitely underscores how energy and rare resource policies are now as important as military spending when it comes to national security.
Exactly, it's a reevaluation of what counts as security. The conventional military might now have to reckon with economic leverage and resource strategy.
Right, no doubt about that. I must say, this whole setup seems to highlight a recurring theme in modern geopolitics: the shift from purely military might to strategic resource control.
Absolutely, dude. It's like the new battleground is in the supply chain itself. It's a shift from physical conflict to economic and technological maneuvering.
Yeah, that's a sharp observation. And with the stakes being so high, do you think we'll see more aggressive policies from China to tighten this stranglehold even further?
Likely, given how much this control influences global tech and defense, expect China to use this leverage as a key element in its broader geopolitical strategy.
They aren't going to give that up easily. And in defending against that, the US and allies might need to innovate rapidly or face long term strategic disadvantages.
Exactly. There's a critical window here for investment in alternative technologies and supply chain resilience. Otherwise, it's like trying to run a marathon with a fuel shortage mid race.
Haha, that's a vivid picture. Well, it seems the conversation around strategic resources is only set to intensify. Lots to consider as these dynamics unfold on the global stage.
Absolutely. It's a complex web, but understanding it is crucial for anyone looking at modern geopolitics and defense. Thanks for the chat. It's been really engaging.
Yeah, thanks for diving deep with me.